We said we were going to do it, now we're going to do it. I feel like it makes sense to do it before SmackDown this week and Raw next week before we do get more brackets. Because if I do get the John Cena, the last time is now tournament wrong, that's funny. And you can laugh at me, and if I get it right, I can call myself the Grand Pooh Bear of wrestling. What does that mean? I don't know. Hello, I am Simon Miller. Welcome to the channel. Please do subscribe if you haven't done that before. It's all down here. It's going to be on screen in just 1 second. I have my 16 competitors. Some of them are absolutely nuts, but if we don't try and manifest these things into existence, what are we doing? Sit down, get your comments ready. Let's go. Right, I'm just going to give it away because it's far easier than doing it like surprise by surprise. Just try and keep your eyes focused where they're meant to be. But bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Look how boring that is. I put no effort into this whatsoever. It's not true. I sat there for a long time planning out round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. Maybe I'm wrong and it's not 16 people. I double checked. But again, anything I do that's idiotic, you can say, oh, of course Simon did this. Now, some of these are going to have explaining. So we're going to go through it match by match. Again, let me know what you think and where I've gone wrong. It's not really stayed in the same order that I wanted, but that's fine. So you're looking at this going, why have you done Trick Williams versus Matt Cardona? Well, it's very nice and simple, right? I think Trick Williams should be one of the people that gets brought in from NXT. John Cena has said it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and outside people, which also ties into Matt Cardona, right? Matt Cardona got such a good reaction when he did turn up to NXT doing whatever the flub he was doing. And he does have a relationship with John Cena on screen. Now, a lot of it, WWE should never mention again. He stole his girlfriend. He helped him sort of get thrown off an aisle way. It's very, very strange. And if you're a fan of John Cena, maybe don't go back and watch that. It's when he was being booked very strangely. It wasn't his fault, but I don't know, for some reason WWE had a, excuse my language, hard on for screwing over Zack Ryder. Maybe it would be Zack Ryder. I don't think so. He's Matt Cardona down in NXT. But the reason why I thought that makes sense is, again, I think Trick should be in the tournament. But if you do Trick versus Matt Cardona, they can then go and feud in NXT. And I cannot believe that Matt Cardona is going to come in for one NXT and one Raw or SmackDown, or wherever this would go on, and then you wouldn't follow up on it. So I don't feel like Trick Williams is getting caught up anytime soon. I could be wrong. Sometimes there's rumors claiming the opposite. So I would do that, and then Trick Williams would win, right? He is the WWE contracted guy, so WWE would go with him. But you can come up with some kind of shenanigans because Trick Williams is meant to be a heel, also gets that character across to the main roster audience who may not know who Trick Williams is if they don't watch NXT. Although the last time Trick was on the main roster, he got a mega pop. So this could go totally dire, right? It all depends. But I would just do that match. It's totally fun. It gets Trick in front of, more eyes. And I just think Matt Cardona deserves to be in it. Maybe I'm a fool. I'd like to see him in the Royal Rumble as well. But what do I know? So that would be the first match that I would do. And I would like to see it because it's totally bizarre. Then yes, Jeff Hardy versus Penta, right? Jeff Hardy and John Cena never really did too much together. They did have their own crossings, but during a time when Jeff Hardy obviously had his personal issues. But I was just trying to think of people you could bring in that would send people crazy. And also, I've got this thing about Penta at the moment. I think Penta should be given a bigger push. I think Penta is great. I think ever since Penta has joined WWE back in January, he's proven that he falls into their ecosystem excellently. If you want to call it WWE style, or I think he brings his own stuff into it, he can do that too. So if Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy are going to have one last run as a tag team, I think they are because Matt Hardy is talking about this a lot before they get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then maybe retirement, it's totally up to them, depending when they feel the right time to go is. Let's use Jeff Hardy's star power in the tournament. I think this tournament, you want to get people talking, right? That's why I put Matt Cardona in there as well. Jeff Hardy is, a TNA talent, but that sort of counts as well. But you can still sell it as, oh my gosh, I can't believe Jeff Hardy's back on the main roster. I don't know when else you would do this, given it does feel like he wants to be with Matt Hardy, which again, totally cool. But I have Penta win, right? And I understand you're saying, why are you doing this in a random first round tournament, Simon? You could build that into a program. I agree, but I don't think WWE is ever going to do that. So I am trying to use the tools I do have to build the best house possible. And also, I just want to see Penta versus Jeff Hardy. This is one of those where you can be rolling your eyes like, Simon, you're so weird. How did you develop any kind of a platform? I know you're so tiny. I get it. I'm tiny, whatever. It doesn't matter. I enjoy what I do. I just think there needs to be a lot of craziness in this thing, given that there are some people that just aren't going to be in it. Cody Rhodes, not going to be in it. Roman Reigns, not going to be in it. And other people. I mean, it could be wrong. Again, I'm doing this before the numbers have actually come out. I just don't think that's going to happen. CM Punk, likely not going to be in it. Jey Uso, likely not going to be in it. If you do stuff like Penta and Jeff Hardy, people will forget very, very quickly that the super duper whooper megastars aren't in there. And I understand it's babyface versus babyface, and maybe Penta even gets some boos. But as long as we hammer on that Penta beat Jeff Hardy, who is a legendary figure, maybe finally Penta can break through and he can go after a world title. Doesn't have to win. I just think he should be there. That's how good he is. I'm doing it. Round 3 is Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight. This is me not trolling, so to speak, but I do think you need some heavy hitters in there. I do think you need some big matches. And I wasn't going to put them in the first round, or round 3 of the first round. But then I was like, WWE loves beating LA Knight, and Drew McIntyre needs a big win. I just think if you did announce that, it would make people go, whoa, like they turn into a dude from 1987. And yeah, not everything can be sort of... Well, my first 2 matches are very like, whoa, I can't believe it. Let's go on Reddit and talk about it. Or Drew versus LA Knight would be the same. Stakes, I suppose. And Drew McIntyre is considered a top guy, needs a win. And LA Knight is kind of his counterpoint on Raw, needs a win as a massive star. I have got Drew McIntyre going over. Just because LA Knight never wins. I've just said it. I'll say it again. I suppose as well, if you do go on a little bit of a losing streak with LA Knight, and he admits it, which he has done in a couple of promos, if you really lean into that, he could probably go heel. Do I think LA Knight should go heel? No, but after watching television recently, I don't think they're going to turn Jey Uso at all. It feels like we've gone away from that. And then you can do the LA Knight versus Jey Uso program. And LA Knight is a very good heel man because, again, he knows what he's doing on the microphone. So that could be interesting. But I think Drew needs something. And again, Drew could be in the War Games, so it may not even be included in this. But I just think you need some triple 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 megastars playing the Sega Mega Drive. So I put Drew and LA in there. Perfectly, honestly, I wouldn't mind who would win. Again, Drew is such an asshole too, he could cheat there as well. So LA Knight can feel hard done by, which could tie into his character. And they do have some previous with each other. Also, there won't be any time. If they could do some promos, it'd be wonderful. But Drew goes through. Kamala Hayes versus The Miz kind of writes itself. At one point, I had this totally redone. This is how much a nerd I've been. And I thought they could maybe meet in the quarterfinals. But then I was like, WWE's not going to do that. They're just going to do it straight away and then have Michael Cole go, oh, I can't believe that they're having a feud and they've just been thrown into this random tournament that's been doing in somewhat of a tumbler. You have Carmella Hayes win, right? Don't worry, The Miz isn't going to come away. He's going to come back in a second. But The Miz has due course with John Cena, so The Miz could squeak through. I just think it's way more exciting within the kayfabe world that we live in. We pretend that, oh my gosh, Carmella Hayes, the brand new up-and-coming guy, is one step closer to fighting John Cena. And The Miz can sell that better. Because The Miz has come out and said, why not part of John Cena's retirement tour? Makes a good point. They had a big feud back in 2007. No, it's 2011 at WrestleMania 27. Excuse me. But it's 2025, and Carmella Hayes deserves a push. I don't want to spoil the whole thing. He will go through, but he won't win. Joe Hendry versus Gunther. Joe Hendry's another guy. I think you put him in there. He's kind of just in NXT now. Whether he's signed a proper TNA WWE deal, I don't know. But TNA is WWE these days, for all intents and purposes. And the reason I put him against Gunther is I don't know whether you can have Gunther as a surprise, but just Joe Hendry, he just gets his character, and he understands these situations. And I still think it'd be a massive deal, him being on Raw or SmackDown for the first time. I think he's done it before. I think that's correct. And if you didn't know it was going to be Gunther, and then Gunther came out, Joe is going to sell that wonderfully. Joe can get totally smashed by Gunther, and Joe Hendry's going to be fine. Because, again, he understands who he is. He understands what to say on the microphone. And he'll do one funny thing on NXT, and he'll be exactly the same place as he was. And I mean that as a huge positive. I'll always say this about Joe. Joe's already completed wrestling, and he can do whatever the flub that he wants, right? Surprise, Royal Rumble. Surprise at WrestleMania. That is the golden 2. The third one would be a surprise of winning Money in the Bank, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I just like the idea of Gunther returning. And it would just work, right? It just will. I feel it in my bones. It's probably not going to happen. And some people be like, oh my gosh, we buried Joe Hendry. But I'm just going to repeat what I just said. He understands wrestling, and he understands his gimmick, and he understands no matter what you give him, he can then use that to his advantage. He's going to make jokes over it, and it's actually going to benefit him. And there's a reason Gunther is in this. I'm sure you can figure it out. We'll get to it. Gunther goes through. We know Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sheamus is going down. That is one of the confirmed matches. I think Sheamus should go through. Again, I'll tie it into under a second. I wouldn't mind Shinsuke Nakamura winning. I think people forget that Shinsuke is one of the best wrestlers of the modern day. He just wanted to chill out the last few years, and more power to him. The thing I'm intrigued about most here is that, Nakamura used to be the king of strong style. Sheamus has become a New Japan wrestler ever since 2023. If they decide to do it, and you've been waiting for that banger, which obviously Sheamus is way into, since Nakamura's been in WWE, had a few, but maybe the last sort of 12 months or so, this could be it. I'm very excited about this. I think it could be brilliant. But yeah, Sheamus is going to win. Rusev versus Damian Priest. We know that one too. I've actually put Rusev through because, of course, easy this one for me, if I am right. Damian Priest is feuding with Zelina Vega, now just Zelina and Aleister Black. They can screw him over. Shenanigans. And it is a good way to continue that feud, right? Which actually ties into my next bracket, which I just go through. But Rusev's going to win that one. Because yes, I have Bronson Reed versus Dirty Dom or Ray. It all depends which way round you want to go. It should be Dominic Mysterio. But it's going to be Dominic versus Ray at the San Diego Survivor Series. Otherwise, why did we do the angle on Raw? We went way too hard into it. One of them could still be in the tournament, and, you know, Rey Mysterio should come out and do some stuff. I get he's the babyface. You need to figure it out, but I think there'll be shenanigans in this as well. It puts Bronson Reed through, and the reason I think Bronson Reed should go into it is because we've made it clear that it is Bron Breakker going for the World Championship. So Paul Heyman can be like, oh, mate, good day, you know, to really establish yourself after beating Roman Reigns, you should enter this tournament. Again, he should go through here and he should create a little bit of a buzz. It's difficult because, again, he did beat Roman Reigns, so you don't want to beat him. I don't have him winning this tournament, but I think even him getting a few wins and then making sure you actually use one of your WWE get out of jail free, you know, distraction, interference, confusion cards is the right thing to do. But then Dirty Dom leaves. He has more reason to be mad at his dad, or it can be Rey Mysterio as well. And Rey Mysterio does have proper history with John Cena. I just think it's better if Dirty Dom was in there. It all depends, right? As long as you come up with the right creative, it doesn't matter, it's the babyface. But that's what I would do. Then that feud spins off, much like Aleister Black and Damian Priest can spin off into Survivor Series, wherever the flub you want to do it. Bronson Reed moves into the quarters. Now, when we get there, that would leave Trick Williams versus Penta, right? That's just a great match. It's just a match that I want to see. And while it's not great calling up someone like Trick and having him lose, I have a thing for Penta at the moment. Sounds like I'm in love with him. I have a little bit, to be completely honest with you. And Penta did just get that big entrance. I just want Penta to go as far as he possibly can. I mean, you could have Matt Cardona come out here and do something if it ties into something on NXT. Then I kind of feel like we're repeating too much what we've done in other rounds. But you could do, and again, I've totally made up that we could do a Trick Williams versus Matt Cardona feud. Maybe we'll never see Matt Cardona again, and he'll go back to the indie scenes, whatever he's doing really, really good. But I would be happy. Like, sometimes I don't think losing is the absolute death nail. If they go out there and have the match they probably can have, which would be awesome, and once again, sell the main roster on Trick, but then Penta gets the win, someone they're more familiar with, but it's an awesome last 2 minutes. I don't think anybody will go, oh, that Trick Williams, he sucks. I think they'll actually go, I'd love to see more of that Trick Williams. And of course, he can screw himself over because he is a bad guy, goes to cheat. Ta-da, not going to happen. Penta hits the Canadian Destroyer, Mexican Destroyer, 1, 2, 3. I just like the match. I like the idea. I think it's completely fresh. It's completely different. And when Trick finally does get called up to the main roster, if you want to give him his win back over Penta, because we're not going to push him to the main event scene, so I can cry into my cornflakes, you can do that too. But once again, if you're not going to use the typically top stars, I think you need to come up with matchups that no one has ever seen before and nobody would ever come up with. And I understand I'm living in Pie in the Sky land, but I don't want to live in normal land when I'm doing videos. It's really boring. Penta goes through. You're also going to get Drew McIntyre versus Carmelo Hayes, and yes, I would bet my hair that the reason Carmelo Hayes doesn't win is because The Miz gets involved, right? I don't think it's going to be a one and done between those. WWE quite clearly needs to do a feud. And if the babyface is going to win the first match, even though it's technically not the first match, then the heel has to do something dastardly in order to get a second match. And you can do it whenever on a SmackDown, on a Survivor Series. Drew McIntyre won't care. You know, one of the, I suppose, great parts of his character is that he will cheat and then pretend I do everything right, everyone else does anything wrong. That does make him a dickhead. But more importantly, it puts Drew into that semi-final bracket. And I think anyone that gets to the final four is going to have a potential to have some magic attached to them, even if they lose, as long as we push this as a big deal. Oh my gosh, you know, one of these four people's going to fight John Cena. And also, Drew McIntyre versus John Cena is a match that people would believe. And it's actually a direction you can go. He may not be my winner here. You'll find out in a second. But if WWE did decide to head in that direction too, he is a super duper whooper heel. John Cena is John Cena. If John Cena does want to lose, and Drew McIntyre was the guy to beat him, it goes back to what we said at the Saturday Night's Main Event review, which you can still check out on the channel now. People were so mad at me. I wasn't as furious that Drew had lost because I wanted to see what he was going to do post Cody Rhodes. And he was the guy to beat John Cena. Nobody give a flub that he didn't become the WWE champion. Now listen, this is me speculating to my heart's content. I don't think it is going to happen. But the seed will be planted. And damn it, I like seeds. But yeah, the Miz will get involved, but Drew will go through. Gunther versus Sheamus speaks for itself. I mean, Gunther would win here. And Sheamus has said he never wants to fight Gunther again. But I think they had 3 matches. The Clash of the Castle one is worth 5 stars and more. The one they had on Raw, that I think was a King of the Ring qualifier, something like that. They just rule together. They totally rock. Sheamus versus John Cena actually makes sense. Because what did Sheamus do when he burst onto the main roster scene? He put John Cena through a table and won that title, which nobody could believe. It caused quite the backlash. Sheamus doesn't feel to me like he's in that position, which is a shame. He is massively underrated. But yeah, you can just do Gunther versus Sheamus. They kick the crap out of each other. Sheamus loses again, which actually could tie into a story, I suppose. But it'll be brilliant. It will totally rule. They just have the best chemistry together. They should go teach science. Do it. Gunther goes in. Which leads you with Rusev versus Bronson Reed, which again is big men. slapping man meat. And WWE doesn't mind beating Rusev. I suppose you could have some nonsense there as well, but I prefer not to. I mean, Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman could do their thing. Bronson Reed smashes him with the Tsunami, 1, 2, 3. And again, he is now in the semi-finals of that tournament. And I think there was probably a time at the start of the year, if I told you there was going to be a John Cena who's going to face me tournament, nobody or few people would have put Bronson Reed in the semi-finals. So that just goes to show how far he's come. And I do think it's a good use of him beating Roman Reigns to be like, holy crap, this is the real guy. And the commentators need to sell it. And Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis need to sell it. Well, he did beat Roman Reigns. John Cena should be quaking in his boots because nobody can beat Bronson Reed right now. He's on the run of his life. And I like Rusev. I love him, actually. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of the modern day. But WWE has proven he can lose. That's totally fine. So he'll lose and Bronson goes through. Semi-finals, Penta versus Drew. It's just a great match, as far as I'm concerned. Penta is on the up. Drew McIntyre is established. I think their stars would mesh really, really well. I mean, it could be an absolute disaster. I don't know. But I just think it's a great idea. I just really do. The more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, we should do that. But what's more important here is that because Penta is a beloved babyface and he's over and he's connected, Drew McIntyre can win. Again, he can do stuff with the mask, can be an absolute dickhead. People expect that. And he can get the victory. Penta's going to be totally protected because he got all of this way. At the moment, I don't know if he's even in the tournament. So this may be completely redundant. But it also puts Drew McIntyre in that final bracket. And I think that's a decent follow-up to losing to Cody Rhodes at Sunday Night's main event. Now, there's a big part of me, and a big part, like 45% right here, that thinks Drew's not even going to be in this thing. And so I've totally destroyed my tournament. But this is my dream tournament based on a reality setting that we currently have. Otherwise, I could put Bret Hart in here, right? That'd be amazing. I love Bret Hart to be in there. It's not going to happen. But I think it's a super interesting match, and I want to see it. And therefore it should happen, so somebody should do it. I've ruined my bracket as well. That's meant to say Bronson Reed. I clicked the wrong button. Ignore it. It's Gunther versus Bronson. I'll try and fix that afterwards. The problem is I'm on the clock today. Oh my gosh, it's so late already. It's Gunther versus Bronson Reed because it's big men slapping man meat, right? And I have put Gunther going through. But Gunther beating Bronson Reed, it's really not that. If Drew McIntyre goes on to win the whole thing, then Bronson Reed could actually win there. But if Gunther is going to return, I think Gunther needs to get to the final. Once again, I think it'd be one of those matches where they just tear lumps out of each other. And you could probably come up with something, because I don't think Gunther, nobody in this tournament is going to be a proper good guy. Because as soon as you go against John Cena, everyone's going to cheer John Cena, especially in his final match. People are going to be crying, man. What is going to be coming out of your seeing devices? I think WWE creatively need to come up with a really good way that Bronson Reed doesn't win, and it should probably tie into another feud or just protects him to the nines. Because you can't beat Roman Reigns in a street fight in Australia and not continue that on for ages. And bless Paul Heyman, he's been doing that for a while. But I have put Gunther through. Again, there's probably more thought that needs to go into that by me. I don't want this video to be 35 minutes long. And it's difficult because Gunther is still a big deal, and him coming back after losing his World Championship, CM Punk, actually makes him a bigger star because absence makes the heart grow fonder. I'd still put him through, but you need to come up with something really, really good there. Some sort of shenanigans, but not too much because you don't want to overdo it in the tournament. But it does bring us to the finals, and I think it's pretty good because it'd be Drew McIntyre versus Gunther. Wait, I haven't got my thing up. There you go. That one's right there. Drew McIntyre versus Gunther, and you can go either way here. Drew McIntyre, massive star on SmackDown. Gunther, kind of like his counterpoint on Raw, I suppose, or there's other people you could throw in there as well, but also technically a heel unless they're going to do something. I think people would love this. I think it would be a huge match. I think John Cena could sell either one guy, and I mean, it's difficult because it all depends if John Cena's winning or losing his last match, because I get it. Dominic Mysterio should beat John Cena in his last match, because then Dominic Mysterio can absolutely climb his way to the main event scene. But it doesn't always work that way. I always go back to WrestleMania 30, The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. I do think Brock Lesnar benefited. I think he was the almost end-of-level boss, and he did that, and then he was the final boss, and he ran that for essentially 10 years. So whoever does beat John Cena, if it goes that way, can still move Drew McIntyre up a notch, and it would absolutely move Gunther up a notch as well. I would put Gunther through just because I think if there's any back and forth about John Cena winning or losing, Gunther losing to John Cena doesn't matter. It's Gunther. He's fine. It'll be good. John Cena beating Gunther, other way around, so Gunther beating John Cena, his career's totally made. Whereas if John Cena's winning and you put Drew McIntyre through, I don't think you want Drew McIntyre to lose. I think Drew McIntyre needs to win. There's just no point putting him in that scenario again. But I would give it to Gunther. I just think there is something about that I find super interesting. But Drew, I'm not going to be mad about that either. They're right on here. It's much of a muchness. It's point A and point A1. But yes, I would put Gunther through, and I'd have Gunther win. And then at Saturday Night's main event on December the 13th, or whenever the flub, I'd do Gunther versus John Cena. Cena, and whatever they want to do is fine. I personally like to see John Cena win because AEW's convinced me with the Sting thing. That makes you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum, and I want to enjoy wrestling. But I'd also be like, wow, amazing. Gunther, your 2026 is now totally made for you. You should become one of the biggest stars because you're the last guy to beat John Cena. I think John Cena's going to win, which is another reason I think Gunther's going to go through. But I like this bracket. Again, it's missing certain names, but they are names I don't believe is going to be in the tournament. Otherwise, my final would be, I don't know, CM Punk versus Randy Orton. But then we've also seen that too, so you don't really want to go back to that either. And it should be a new match, I think. I could be wrong there. I probably need to sit and think about it a bit more. Criticize this. There will be holes that I haven't thought of. It was very much done with love and care and excitement and passion as opposed to, I'm going to sit here and really think about it, because anybody can do that, and you should do that. It's massively important, but I wanted to throw some Miller madness in there. That's what the comments are for, so do let me know. Otherwise, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the video on the screen to get my thoughts from Monday Night Raw. Thought it was decent, intrigued to see what we're going to do with CM Punk. Otherwise, subscribe button and notification bell. Massively appreciate if you could click those. Patreon.com/Simon316 for my watch along, super duper cheap. Grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon, get 10% off, often more percent off. The best fitness supplements that money can buy. Otherwise, I wouldn't tell you to use them. And of course, they ship worldwide. Simon316 to come tell me I'm dumb and why do I make these videos on social media. TikTok and Cameo and Pro Wrestling Tees. Just search for my name, especially my TikTok. My stupid promo videos will be going up later today on the Wednesday. I'll probably actually cut them up. So they'll probably go on to the weekend. I appreciate all of you. Take care. This bald idiot will see you soon.